Despite what their moms told them, they just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot and really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, orange men and ladies. Happy Thursday. It's Thirsty Thursday here at the Cuse Militia. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe at Cuse Militia. On the socials, go there. Join the militia. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with us. We appreciate all of you. Syracuse kicks their own ass, 88-87 against Miami in a piss-poor second-half effort. I don't know, Joe, what was worse, the broadcasters or the orange. I'm not sure. It's a toss-up, but...
Oh, yeah, it's tough.
That's a tough call. You'll hear from us, and we'll hear from you in fan feedback in Syracuse. We'll head to Wake Forest from Miami. They're going to stay in Miami to take on the Demon Deacons, and we'll let you know what we think about that. There is no news other than this game, which we are... fortunate we are here to talk about such an unfortunate game, I suppose. So, with that said, let's hear what Coach had to say after the game.
In the first half, getting the ball to Jesse. They doubled Buddy, and we just found Jesse, and he had all kinds of easy opportunities inside. The game turn was all because of turnovers. We didn't take care of the ball. Even half court, not just full court. It was really more half court. I think they had 25 points off turnovers. You know, you can't do that on the road. I thought we played really, really well offensively. Our defense was good for quite a while. You know, Moore made some long threes, real long. And, sometimes that happens. But the first half, we did a better job protecting the paint. The second half, they got in the lane too easy and got too many easy shots inside. But, again, I just think the turnovers were the key. 25 points off our turnovers, it's hard to overcome that. Yeah, they doubled them, and other guys have got to score in that situation. And they did. We scored 88 points. Everybody's talking about our offense. Our offense has got nothing to do with why we're losing. We're losing because of our defense. It's simple. And tonight, the turnovers. Jesse had a good game, but he can't just hold the ball in there, and they're going to come and take it away from him. And Joe made a couple really bad turnovers, and Buddy made 2 really bad turnovers. So, everybody was a part of it. I think Cole made 2. Everybody had a piece of the turnovers. We're scoring points. That's not the problem. The turnovers, defense was better tonight for a long time, but it was more the turnovers than anything. Even the defense was pretty good. And, if a guy shoots that far out and makes them, sometimes that happens. He's 6-8 feet behind the line. But the turnovers were the difference in the game. Simple as that.
You're 7-7 right now. What do you tell the guys?
We play Wake Forest Saturday, and we're going to try to play that game. I don't ever look at the record, whether it's 14-0 or 7-7. None of that matters. That's for all you people and all the internet people.
That's what I asked.
We look to play the next game. That's all we look for. Nothing else matters. Well, Moore was a big problem. You shoot so far out, you extend your defense, and now it creates driving lanes, and they got in the lane. Both McGusty and Wong got into the lane too many times. That was really... It was still the turnovers. If we didn't have the turnovers, they would have scored 76 points or something. We would have won the game. Well, instead of flying all night and getting back late and being tired tomorrow, we can rest here. We can have practice. We can do some things here. We can get to Wake Forest and practice there, and avoid a 4-hour plane ride home and then a 2.5, 3-hour plane ride back down. So. It's the best way to try to be able to be ready to play Saturday.
All right, the coach montage is brought to us by the Spotify Green Room app. Go there to your iOS or Android stores and download the app. It's free. All you need is a username and email address and a password. It is a way for you to interact with us if you would like to. At Cuse Militia there, you can follow us. You can sign up for notifications. And when we go live on the app, which we do for every fan feedback, you can join us. You can get in the room and you can just listen and chill. You can chat. You can even request to speak. If I accept your request, you will have a red microphone above your icon. Hit that microphone and say your piece. Also, you don't have to just follow us. You can follow a number of other people on a number of other topics, and it's free. Did I mention it's free? That's kind of like Coach with turnovers. It's free. Go to the iOS or Android stores today. Download the app. Sign up. It's very easy to use. You will not regret it. Thank you. All right, Joe. Turnovers. Kind of the theme there. So, anyways, start right off the top, okay? Syracuse comes out swinging. Jesse Edwards is swinging, getting him the ball on the inside, and he was making it look easy. And you think to yourself, man, we're going to cruise. And for about 20 minutes, they cruised, and they looked phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it finally looked like you watched the Virginia
defense
game,
was
right?
good. Yeah.
Yeah, and we talked about how when they were doubling Buddy, we had a tough time scoring off of that, and it looked like we kind of figured that out against Miami, especially considering how many easy baskets Jesse Edwards got around the rim. So he had like 6 or 7 dunks. So, yeah, in the beginning, it looked really, really well. And to be perfectly honest with you, I was kind of wondering why or when Miami was actually going to start putting out the pressure. It was only a matter of time. Yeah, especially being down that much.
And it was short-lived, about 18 minutes, I guess, maybe something like that. They didn't fall apart at the end of the half, but Miami definitely, you could see a little bit of a momentum shift to end the half, which is it's never a dagger, but it doesn't help.
Right.
25 points off of turnovers for Miami. 19 turnovers. I mean, just really bad. That's going to be the theme. That is the theme. Defense was good for most of the first half, like I just mentioned. But, dude, I mean, I feel like I counted 3 turnovers in a row. Going down on the offensive side. And, when Coach says, and I know, like if I was a media guy, Coach would rip me apart for saying this, and that's fine. But when he says it wasn't the offense, it's the defense, but it's mostly the turnovers. Well, last I checked, you have to be on offense to commit turnovers. So while they were scoring, they could have scored a whole lot more. And it is just one of those things. It's like, what could have been? And that's why I say, Syracuse, Joe, they just kicked their own ass. That was their game to win, and they kicked their own ass, literally. They lost because of themselves.
Yeah, I mean, 19 turnovers to 10 turnovers, 19 fouls to 13 fouls. So they shot 6 more free throws than us, and they had 9 less turnovers. And when it came to the points off of the turnovers, they had 25 to our 11. So they were plus 14 as far as that goes. So, yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you can point to the little things, like against Virginia, Coach brought up his son's free throw performance, which
abysmal.
Which didn't get much better this game as far as him personally. But even in this game, I mean, Joe Girard, he had a chance he missed the front end of the 1-and-1. Jimmy Boeheim, when we started coming back there near the end, Buddy, he missed the front end of a 1-and-1.
That would have brought the game within 2 points, by the way. At that
point,
close,
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But then we got into the free throw match, and instead of being within 2, we're still down 4. Then they go down and they hit a 3, or they hit 2 free throws, one of the 2. Now they're up 6, and that's kind of how it went. Then Buddy fouled out. Then Jesse fouled out, and
that one missed free throw too, if I remember right, off the rebound was 2 the other way.
Mm-hmm.
So a 4-point swing, just like that, in what could have been a 4-point swing. Could have, would have, should have.
I mean, they came out and they hurried us up. They rushed us. They started to control the pace of the game, and we controlled the pace of the game for pretty much almost the whole first half. And then something happened and something clicked, and then they started taking it over. And we just, again, I mean, dribbling the ball off the leg. I mean, you see 14 steals, but I mean, we had a couple times where we just dribbled the ball off our leg, right? Or, we were just holding the ball too much. I mean, we just got to be stronger with the ball. I mean, that's just really what it is. We're just not strong with the ball.
Soft, man. The whole thing was soft. You say you got to be stronger with the ball. We talked privately, before earlier today, which we talk all the time before we podcast, but we don't really mention the game that much. But Joe just couldn't help himself.
No. I mean, that's the whole.
But come on, for the love of Pete. But make your point that you're making to me with why is Jesse's got 6 turnovers? Yes, but why is he helping field the press where he's at?
No, I don't know. Again, like I said, teams, when you know certain weaknesses, you let. I mean, if you're out in the court and something seems easy, it's probably because the other team's setting you up. I mean, we've done it in the past with allowing teams to get the ball in the corner, or on the baseline, and we trap them. And that's just signature Syracuse 2-3 zone, and we let them go there. And they're dribbling, it's easy, trap, done, right? They got to call a timeout, turnover, shot clock violation. And I mean, in this situation, I mean, it's the same thing. I don't know why he was so far up, and if that's part of their game plan, then okay. But I mean, they're obviously going to let somebody who has. I mean, he can't dribble. He's weak with it. I mean, you see him all the time. Just the ball. You saw him last night. I mean, everyone saw it with their own eyes, right? He's not that strong with the ball. And at the end of the day, I don't know why that would be the first pass in that you'd want to get in, And I mean, maybe it just says a lot to where we really are, right? Because I mean, if you remember last year, I think when we talked about playing against pressure defense and especially the press, we were really only comfortable with Kadari and Marek bringing the ball up. And those 2 players are no longer on our team, and we haven't really found a solution to that yet. So
right,
we're going to see that more and more. The good thing is we have good enough offense to keep us in games. Bad thing is that, if we don't shoot free throws well, or if we don't win rebounds, or there's just the room for error is so small. And if we mess up on one thing, like just have a bad turnover game, then we're going to end up losing. Even though to me, it looked like we were the better team.
I mean, I feel like we were. It's why, I feel like we beat ourselves and Syracuse beat Syracuse. I mean, that's not a cop-out. We lost the game. I'm not saying that. Miami did what they did, and they did a good job. And a lot of that was coaching, and hats off to Jim Larinaga for switching it up the way he did, as aggressive as he did, and for those players to pull it off is great. But Syracuse just stunk it up. Now, when Buddy's getting triple teamed, double teamed every game, right? And other guys got to score, and Joe Girard's he slipped, right? So the one game where this dude comes out, goes 7 for 12 from 3 and for 26 points in 37 minutes, and combined 16 points for the Boeheim brothers, and you got Cole Swider 20, Jesse Edwards 22, and it's like, what do we have to do? We can't just click on all cylinders ever. And it's never going to happen because of the double team. But sometimes Buddy comes through that and he figures out a way. He just couldn't figure out a way yesterday. Him and Jimmy couldn't get out of their own ways. I understand Buddy. Jimmy had a terrible game. An awful game, Joe. And for 32 minutes of kind of not great basketball.
Yeah. And I mean, realistically, if there's one thing you want to take away from it, is when you looked at the Virginia game, we had the 2 Boeheim brothers. That's the only ones that were in double digits. And, we
it's like one or the other. Yeah.
And coach said, hey, we got to find a way for other people to score when they're doubling Buddy and this and that. And now, the Boeheim brothers, they only combined for 16 points. Neither of them hit double digits. But then all the other 3 starters get double digits, and not just double digits, like all 3 of them in the 20s. So if there is any type of, light at the end of the tunnel that you want to take away from this, it's the fact that it did seem like we got better on offense as far as learning how to, get through the double teams to Buddy, and, how we get a little bit better spacing, and how Jesse kind of reacts when he gets the ball, and turns around and it's 4-on-3 and figuring out what he wants to do. But again, and even then, on top of that, I thought the defense was better for the first half, and second half, again, they were just on fire. And with turnovers and everything in the pace of the game, it's kind of tough. But I saw a little bit better even with defense. I thought you saw an improved team from the last game, but you can't have 19 turnovers.
No, that was it.
You just can't have 19 turnovers. That's just the bottom line.
You can't for 25 points. And, it ends up being a 1-point game with a heave at the very end from Swider, who comes on late, very late. Right, Joe?
God.
What do you hold on? Hold that thought. Let me just say, hats off to Charlie Moore for doing what he did. The dude went off 6 for 10, 25 points in 37 minutes, and he was hitting them from the logo. He was 8-10 foot back on a couple of those that he hit, and it's just you can't guard that stuff. And people aren't always going to be that hot, but the problem is it seems to happen to us a lot, but I don't know if I fault them for a couple of those. They were so far. You don't want to get up there and foul the dude, and you just kind of hope for the best as on defense at that point for shots that far away. But
yeah, well, dude, he went 6 for 10. He made a bunch 6 to 8 feet, like Coach said, away from the 3-point line, and you really can't guard the guy there. And going into this game, the prior 14 games, he's made 21 3-pointers. So he's not even averaging 2 3-pointers a game, right? So it's one of those things where that guy wasn't the guy that we were most worried about on offense. And that's another thing is you have a guy like that goes and makes those shots. You know what I mean? I remember we were coming back, and I'm pretty sure he made a 3-pointer that kind of minute 18 left, Cole Swider hit a 3 to make it 74-77. Called a timeout, and then they go down. Charlie Moore made a deep 3 with about a minute to go to make it 80-74. And then after that, it was the free throw game, foul game, hoping something happens, and didn't get close till the end. So
there's always that guy, Joe. It feels like as a Syracuse fan, there's always that guy, that third man up type 3-point shooter that just comes out and lights up the show against Syracuse.
But this was different because in those situations, it's like a guy that's usually not good at 3-pointers.
Well, that's true.
And
it just
we'll leave him open,
nowhere.
and he hits a bunch, right?
Right. Yeah.
But in this situation, nobody's guarding anybody out there. So literally anybody that we play against can actually do what he did.
Right.
Except for usually 99.9% of the time, these players don't make that many shots from outside.
They're probably not even taking that many from that far away.
Right.
Well, because they're not making them. So I guess they stop, right? But he's hitting
And how about
them.
that beat? The spread for this game was 2 points.
Oh, really?
Imagine if you bet Miami on this one. Imagine the emotional roller coaster you went through this whole game.
Yeah, which is why I don't put my money there all the time. Next game up, Coach was asked about heading into Wake and his thoughts on that, or the record 7-7 going in, and it is what it is. What do you think, Coach is going to comment on everything in the past at this point? Look, the way I see it, and I'll just couple this with the last comment Coach made. Next game up, nothing else matters. Coach's words. It was also my wedding song, by the way. Also, he says, well, we would have scored, roughly 76 points without the turnovers and won the game. Now, look, who the hell knows, right? But you'd like to think without the turnovers, we kick Miami's ass. We score at least what we got, at least, and limit them. We beat Miami, but as we always say, ifs and buts are candy and nuts. We all have a Merry Christmas, and there ain't no sense in dwelling on that. So next game.
Some people don't think it's too, but if you're really to put it in perspective, right? Let's just say you have 4 more turnovers than somebody else, right? And in those 4 turnovers, they just happen to score 4 points. 50% of the time they scored, right?
Yeah.
And let's just say that if you would have had those 4 possessions, that you would have scored 50% of the time.
8 points.
That's an 8-point swing.
Yeah.
With just 4 turnovers. We had 9.
9 more than them. Yep.
Right. And when you look at it, they had 14 more points. They were plus 14 in the points off of turnovers than us. So right there, that tells you that they at least scored off of 7 turnovers more than, you know what I mean? And we had 9 more than them. So again, you see it, it's obviously the turnovers, but there's still little things like Charlie Moore missing a couple threes and he normally, little small stuff like that. Buddy Boeheim hits the front end of a 1-and-1. We still could have pulled this thing out, which would have been amazing still. But to see that we shot 53% from 3-point land and hit 17 and we still lost because they had 25 points off turnovers. Like it's crazy. So just something like having a difference of four turnovers with another team could be a difference of 8 points or more. I mean, sometimes less, but I mean, you're looking at an average type situation. And that could be everything to a game. So no doubt about it. A difference of 9 turnovers was the game 100%.
Yeah. I don't think there's much question there. Before we get into fan feedback, we would be remiss if we didn't mention Coach Robinson passing away at the age of 70. Was it yesterday? It was yesterday. It was announced a couple hours, I think, before the game. So we all remember the Robinson era after Pasqualoni. Had Alzheimer's, and I did not know that. In fact, maybe I should have, but I did not. But obviously, thoughts and prayers with his family, and that's terrible. I've watched people in my family go through that, and it's devastating. So
I'm dealing with it right now.
So it's terrible. But anyways,
as bad as, like I said, as much as maybe Syracuse fans want to forget about the 4 years he was here, it doesn't take away what type of person he is. And obviously, I mean, you never want to see this happen to somebody. So
right, absolutely. So prayers to his family during this time, and time to hear from you.
It's time to hear from you, the loudmouths from the Loud House.
All right, you guys know what to do at the end of every game. Head over to the socials, find our post that says thoughts on the game, ? And you leave them. And we talk about them here. I'll read them, I'll pick some, and we'll talk about them. So let's do a couple. I don't have it done, guys, because I got to be honest, man. It's awfully repetitive. And we'll see how quick it goes. And see if there's maybe some extras we can choose from. At Ebola_0 says, Jim chose a cool experience over what's best for the team. I think Jimmy proved that he can be a quality scorer in the ACC, but Buddy and Joe aren't defensive wizards, and Jimmy is an even bigger liability. Stiff, skinny, and unathletic on the defensive end. Not a good recipe. So, Jim chose a cool experience over what's best for his team. Obviously, being able to coach both of his sons, he's alluding to there, and instead of what's best for the team. So, look, we kind of talked about this. I think it was the last episode with Kadari. We don't know what was going on with all that stuff, and I don't like to speak on all that stuff. It doesn't make any sense to speculate through all that stuff. So, but there's definitely. We talked about it with Kadari, Joe, Benny. It could be an argument made, and you can make it, that he should have got a little bit more playing time over Jimmy yesterday. Maybe.
I mean, it's I was kind of on that boat. I mean, I know Jimmy has been pretty consistent, but he just didn't seem. I mean, airballing the free throw, dribbling off his leg. I mean. And that you kind of get a bump up in at least, athleticism and the speed as far as the rotations. And Benny Williams seems to be playing better on defensive end. I mean, he came in last night, had an immediate steal, hit a first three of the season. And to me, it looked like you could see that he made a little bit of a difference out there on defense. And, again, I'm not a 40-plus year coach, and he's forgotten more about basketball than I'll ever know for sure. But just, someone looking on from the sideline as a fan, you're like, why aren't you putting that guy in for that guy? Because obviously, like, you're having problems stopping people. You got to lead. This guy's really not helping you, and this guy actually kind of helped, right?
Right. So, it's a bad night. Players can be phenomenal and have bad nights where you're like, look, you're just not feeling it tonight. Take a seat. So,
Well, yeah, and I think that there's just situations where I think that there's going to be some physical limitations and some things that just this roster can't do or are going to struggle with, and I think that you have to be able to combat that with certain lineups depending on what you're going against, whether that be the press or whether that be a team where you don't really need all that offensive firepower and you can kind of substitute a little bit of that for some defense and some a little bit more athleticism and speed. Because it's kind of obvious when you look at it, and then to your point, like it doesn't look like we can press a lick, and I know that there's fans out there that are completely against the 2-3 zone, but I can't see this team playing man to man. I mean,
yeah. What would you do in that situation? What would that look like?
What Augusta Wong would have done last night if it was man to man. I don't. I mean, it is what it is, and I think that it's a situation where we can sit here and we can bitch about certain things that we're looking at that we don't like, but I think we just have to come to the realization that the team is like who they are, and we kind of got to be able to fix certain things. We know who our starting five is, but we got to get depth, and we got to get our bench players to be able to come in and help in certain situations. Like, it's just that's the bottom line. There's just so many things that were just weird to me with, just Frank not playing, even though Jesse was playing out of his mind. I get it, but Frank not getting any burn and Benny not. I don't even think he got. Did he get minutes in the second half, or only when Jesse Edwards fouled out?
Yeah, I think. No, he totaled 9 minutes.
I guess my point is that when you're proving that you can score, but the games are close, or you have a lead, and you can still put up some points. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't substitute a little bit of defense for offense. But again, he's the coach. He's the one that sees them in practice. He's the one that knows better than anybody what they're prepared for. And, I hate to second guess it, but it's hard to, some people want to play devil's advocate and some people want to play, the armchair quarterback. But at the end of the day, he's still the coach. He's going to do what he's going to do. And I would hate to bring nepotism into it. It's basically, I'm not going to go there.
Well,
only way I would bring it up or even accuse that is as if it's blatantly obvious.
Yeah, I guess you can question things. We questioned it all last year with Joe. Joe's not his kid, so right. But anyways, at Mick Orange SC, pass the bourbon. Yes, pass the bourbon. Which reminds me, let's shout out to our good buddy at Oil Cuse. Got his Christmas card. Captain Pat. It was late, brother. It was a little late. I really appreciate it. But it was late. Lovely family. Kids look just like them. Poor kids. I'm kidding. Yes, pass the bourbon. That was a drinking night. It definitely was. And it got to a certain point. I think it was like 56, 55-ish. I think there was quite a bit of time left where I was just like, I don't see it. I don't see Syracuse pulling this off because just body language, man. I'm not saying they weren't fighting, but it was just some of those turnovers and stuff, like on the ground. And by the way, someone got piled on. I don't remember who it was and they called a jump ball instead of a foul, but it looked like a scrum for a freaking football.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? But anyways, yeah, I've got a bad feeling, guys. If you're a bourbon guy or gal, I suggest you stock up. I don't know when this is going to get better. I still say that it will, but when? I guess, right, Joe? It could be at some point too late. That was a quad 2 game versus Miami. Not a horrible loss yet. Still a lot of ACC play to be had, but I guess we'll just have to see. I remain optimistic, though I am not only disappointed, but I'm discouraged by what I see because It doesn't look good. I don't ever. I mean, maybe I'm going out on a limb here. I don't ever remember feeling this way and looking at a Syracuse basketball team like this early in the season. If you want to call it early, 14 games.
No.
Right?
Like, as much as we've had a brutal non-conference schedule, but 7-7. It's tough. You got the Colgate loss, and you got these 2 games that you should have at least gotten one of between Miami and Virginia. So definitely tough, without a doubt, man.
Definitely tough. Could be 3-0 in ACC play, in my opinion. If I think Syracuse should have been. Now, I thought they should have beat Virginia, and I felt like they could have. I felt like they kind of beat themselves in that game too. But I feel like more so with Miami, they should have beat Miami.
Yeah,
more so than they did.
The little things, and you see this, and you wonder how we beat Florida State.
You do, but then you look at Florida State and you go, well, maybe they're not that good.
Maybe that's why.
Maybe that's why everybody's beating them. All right, look, we are going to get back into fan feedback here in a second. Let's first hear from the Spotify Green Room app one more time. Go over to your iOS or Android stores, download the app, and all you need is a username and email address and a password. It is free. Download that thing and sign up for notifications from us at Cuse Militia. You can follow us there. You can follow plenty of other people, but the thing is too about this is that it's easy to use, and you can even do your own thing. There is an option if you decide to go live and have people follow you and do your own segments on things to record that segment. They will email you that segment once it is complete, and you can upload that thing right to any podcast hosting site just like that. So a cheap, easy way to start your own podcast now. And look, we prove that the podcasting thing ain't that hard. So you can do it. And it's even easier now with the Spotify Green Room app. Go there, download the app today. All right, let's finish this up, Joe. This is from @Tony Staffieri on Twitter. Toughness is not an adjustment. This isn't changing because Boeheim is in the Hall of Fame. So, now look, 2 things. Split this up. I agree with the first part. Effort isn't free. That's a Joe G saying. And toughness.
Effort is free.
What did I say? Effort is not free?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not right. That would be a horrible saying, by the way. Effort is free, and toughness is not an adjustment, which I like, Tony. I really do. I like that a lot because that's true. And I feel like, unfortunately, this team's just not that tough. They have fight, but they're just not that tough. And there's another comment later on in fan feedback that I like. This isn't changing because Boeheim is in the Hall of Fame. I mean, look, I don't know who else is going to coach for the money Coach is doing it for. I don't know. I think when Coach retires and we have to go through some growing pains with that, I can't imagine what it's going to look like. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, does it?
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is too is, I mean, effort's one thing, and he talks about toughness. I think that's just instilled in people. People have a certain level of toughness, and I mean, obviously that can change, but it's not something that changes overnight. But I mean, to me personally, I feel like this is more of a just like a personal physical attribute type thing.
Oh, I mean, it's a physical attribute. Yes.
I mean, you look at Jimmy, you look at Jimmy Boeheim, you look at Jesse, you look at Cole, Buddy. I mean, they're not like toothpicks, but you see some of these other guys that we go against. I explained this last podcast, I believe, but I mean, there was times when I played basketball, where I was an undersized center and I did what I could, right? Did what I could. But sometimes, those guys come and they're 4 inches taller than you and they're got 30 pounds in you. And literally you can be as tough as you want to. You can put in as much effort as you want to. There's sometimes nothing that you can do. Stronger. And so sadly, it's one of those things where I think, we got to be stronger with the ball. Like it's almost like, like the wide receivers with the jug machines, the little jug machines that spits out the football. Yeah. Like our basketball team needs to do that in the off season and learn how to
with a rock.
Right. Because like literally that's my biggest thing is it's not even the toughness or the effort. I mean, sometimes it's just basic positioning, but like when they have the ball, it seems like the ball just gets knocked out of their hand. They can get just bumped into, ball
So
gets knocked out of
easily.
their hands.
Yeah. It's going between people's legs and everything. I mean, it looks like the clown music. That's what I heard last night going running through my head. Yeah,
a couple times.
It's like, what the hell? This is embarrassing. Like, what are you guys doing? Do you roll around in oil before you hit the floor? I mean, I don't get it.
Right.
At E. Krupp on Twitter, horrible. Never thought I'd see the day that the team was this bad. I mean, overall, they've had worse games, but this team may not end up 500. They stink. Now, as we all know, Coach has never finished below 500 in 40. What are we at now? 45 years? Something like that.
I'm not counting. I'm not keeping track of that.
More years than I've been alive. But
yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a concern. I mean, like I said, I remain optimistic, but I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm not overly optimistic. I have hope, I guess you could say. And that hope is basically a historical feel, I guess you could say. It's just
absolutely. How many times have we been here?
Right.
I mean, maybe not 7-7.
I don't know when we've been at 7-7. I don't remember.
But I'm saying, how many times have we been in a position where, like, we're losing these games by the slimmest margin? It's the small stuff. I mean, our defense is only going to be what it can be, right? Because we talk about just there's certain things, I mean, Jimmy and Cole aren't going to just, get faster and just up their vertical 5 inches real quick in the middle of the season. It's just not going to happen. So they have effort and they got, just working together, communication. There's things that can just get better just by just working together for a longer, amount of time. But it's, I don't know, dude. It's one of those things where we've seen it where, like, in the past we've gotten better at the small things that we lose games early. They end up getting fixed, and physical stuff can't really fix too much.
Look at the veterans on just in the starting five. Whether or not they've been at Syracuse or not, they've played plenty of basketball. I mean, it has got to be. It is so frustrating to watch these guys with so many years under their belts, and still we're dealing with some of these elementary problems. It's very frustrating to watch, and I mean, it must drive Coach absolutely batshit crazy because it's all fundamental stuff. I mean, so I mean, it's just like that's what's so frustrating about it because it's them, and it's like they have to fix it. They have to fix it.
Well, yeah.
If we couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, I'd be like totally. I would have given up by now. I'd throw my hands in the air and be like, "Oh, this team's done." It's hard to do that when we're looking at something little minor every game that just tanks us. An 18-point lead. Just tanked in a record time. It's embarrassing. It sucks.
Yeah, but some of that stuff is fixable. To know that we can still score and stuff like that, to know that we're going to be in games, it's just,
that's why like
hopeful. We said, it's just the small stuff. It's the focus and just being a little bit stronger with the ball and maybe communicating and learning, to play with each other a little bit better because there's still some new pieces there, but you see from Virginia to now how we handled the offense with them, doubling Buddy. Right. And we already made that improvement. Right. So now it's okay. Well, we figured that out. On to the next problem.
Right. Don't turn the ball over.
Right. That and free throws.
Like the old Vince Lombardi deal when he goes in the locker room and he says, "This is a football." I mean, does Coach need to go in the locker room and just strip it down to this is a basketball and start over? Top fan, Zach, our boy Zach, on the Facebook. We need that physical guy that's going to get mad and say, "All right, I'll show you the bully," and start pounding the paint. Hate to say it, but miss having Quincy. Think he would have been the guy in this game. Now, Quincy was a strong guy. He was a strong guy. He was either on or off, but he was, I think there's some validity to that train of thought. But besides who it would be or could be, it doesn't matter because that is what we need. And I mean, they're just going back to what we were talking about before, we just don't have that guy. We just don't have him. You know, I felt like Joe could have been this guy. When he gets into his own head, he's just not as good. But last night he was awesome. And, you know, it just didn't add a spark to everybody. They look so lost out there sometimes. Like, I was just so, you know, you almost feel bad for him. Like, get deer in headlights.
Yeah, no, it was just, I mean, literally that first 5 minutes of the second half just killed me, dude. Just absolutely killed me.
Yeah,
it was almost like
it
was almost like the refs just sprayed the ball with WD-40 and said, "Here you go." Like, that's what it looked like. Like, it looked like we couldn't hold on to the ball. We struggled to just do certain things. But again, when you look at the turnovers, sometimes it's forced errors, sometimes it's unforced. You know, I mean, unforced turnovers are even worse, like the one that, you know, went off Jimmy's leg, right? But to see 14 steals off 19 turnovers, I mean, that's like a red flag.
Yeah.
That to me is the number one thing that needs to be addressed as far as I'm concerned after this game, and I'm sure it will. It's just how will the team respond against another ACC experienced team that's got some athleticism that's going to give them fits, you know? Like, that's really what it is. We need to work on that. You need to work on not turning the ball over.
Yeah.
Because literally we can put the ball in the basket. We have no problem putting the ball in the basket. We might have a problem stopping the other team from putting the ball in the basket, but we're usually better than the other team putting the ball in the basket, except for when we take away opportunities to put ball in the basket. And that's literally what we're really good at too, is taking opportunities from ourselves via offensive rebounds and turnovers.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. I hate that. I feel like I'm bringing everybody down. We don't usually do that, Joe. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, a lot of people are down. It's hard not to be down.
I know. I'm
upset because it's one of those things where they just lost 2 games to teams that I feel they're better than.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Joe, not a top fan. Oh, man, that's too bad, Joe. Joe P on Facebook. That's a little disappointing. It's too bad. Nobody bring the ball up court versus press. Can't hit free throws. Hi, Jimmy. Nice air ball. Miami didn't miss in early second half. Lost our poise under the pressure. Very sloppy with bad turnovers. No bench contributions. Surprise, surprise. Need to be better in all areas. All right. Here's why I chose this one. Besides being Joe P, we love Joe P.
Sure.
Nobody to bring the ball up court versus the press, but also nobody to press. I mean, what was that? What's worse, their press or them breaking the press?
No, we're not pressing anybody this year.
Oh my gosh, are you serious? A couple long balls for dunks. Hello, what the hell was that? It's so frustrating. The bench contributions, Joe. That you have after analyzing this game as a coach, you have to say to yourself, okay, I see the problem, and when I see the problem, I need to substitute.
You need to open up the playbook. Yeah, I think so.
And it's going to be something where you do it, and you either lose or you're going to lose. I mean, what do you got to lose? At this point, we have nothing to lose. 7-7, either you're going to lose or you're going to lose. I mean, and hopefully Benny, I think he's good enough to be something special towards the end of the year, but he's got to get on the floor. Jimmy, I don't know what's wrong with Jimmy. I don't know. I was like huge on Jimmy beginning of the year, but it's different competition.
Well, you have to understand that he's not used to this. I mean,
it's different competition.
D1's D1, but it's different competition. It's different size, and I'm not saying one way or another, but you know, maybe it was just one bad game, right? But either way, like I look at it like. Right now, we're in a situation where we're still not confident enough to, even when Jimmy's having a bad game, to put Benny in. You know what I mean? Like, we got to be able to get to a point to where we got these bench players where it's like, okay, Jimmy's not playing good. I'm putting Benny in. He's playing 18 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't. And sometimes you need to be able to allow that player to go in and just play and make the mistakes and get into the game. And just the fact that he came in and made plays right from the jump like I saw it, and then he hit the three, and I was like, oh man, this might be a breakout game for Benny. And then he just disappeared into the bench again. So if Jimmy was playing good, I'd be able to understand. But in a game like this, I feel like you gotta see that like this person's not having a great game, and let's bring this other guy in. He might just help on defense, right?
Something.
I mean, that's just my personal opinion and opinion of a lot of people.
Some speed, athleticism, somebody to grab some rebounds, you know?
Right.
I mean,
yeah, just a little bit of a change, you know, get somebody out there, a little change of pace, you know. You get those guys that are used to the closeouts to the 3-point is for Jimmy, you know, they're used to doing a little pump fake and going past them, and they're just used to that. And then all of a sudden you get somebody in there that's got a little bit bigger wingspan, can get there faster, and then can recover faster. And then, you know, rebound over you, then that changes the way that another team or another player on a team could play. So, I mean, there's always, you know, you can always look at it in hindsight, you know, because if you keep Jimmy in and he goes off and gets through this little rut that he's got, then, you know, it's all good. But he just happened to probably have the worst game that he's had in the Syracuse uniform, and you know, it's easy to speculate that, hey, we should have played that guy. But in my opinion, that's just my opinion, you know. But I mean, how is Benny going to get there unless you put him in those situations? So,
right. You know, speaking of rebounds, we did win that battle, and it looked really good for a while too. But it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Nick on Facebook, I don't know how he lose that one. Joe was balling. Yes, Jesse went crazy. Even Benny hit a three, to Joe's point that he was just making. Miami came out of the half on a mission. Yes, they did. And they went into the half knowing they could do it. And that was the momentum shift they needed. And I guess lucky for Syracuse that they had a break in between, because it probably could have been a whole lot worse if that started to happen with, 5-10 minutes left in the half, if you can imagine. But Joe had a great game, and you hate seeing these guys like Joe, who struggled, come out and break out and have a tremendous game, and then have to take the L, you know. So it's just frustrating. It's frustrating for everybody. It's frustrating for them. It's frustrating for us. You know, it's one of those ones, like, I love doing the show. I love being here. I love doing this, and me and Joe talking and having fun. But man, it's miserable coming and doing it when it's like
well, and
this.
to that point too, to that point as well, as far as Joe Girard goes, you know, that's the other thing too, is, you know, we saw the press and talking about handling the press and everything, but it was how they handled it and their personnel and who got it right. And to Joe P's point, like, you know, we talked about it earlier, Kadari Richmond and Dolezaj were the only ones that I was confident last year that they could bring the ball across, and they're both gone. So we haven't fixed that problem. But between Joe and Samir, there was only 2 turnovers out of the 19. So it was everybody else.
No, I know it. Yeah, they did a really good job. So, that's unfortunate. All right, Joe, let's do this quickly. I mean, we don't have to make it quick, but if we could try. Wake Forest this Saturday. The all-time series between the Demon Deacons and the Orange sits at 9-1 in favor of Syracuse. I can't believe they've only played 10 times in basketball. It's kind of crazy. Syracuse, Orange, and Wake first met. They only met once prior to Syracuse joining the ACC, and this was in 2001 preseason NIT tournament, which the Orangemen at the time won 74-67, according to orangehoops.org. The one win for Wake came in 2018, 67-73 at Wake Forest. Syracuse is currently on a 4-game win streak right now. Wake is 13-3, and they are 2-2 in the ACC. Wins in the ACC against, should have probably wrote this down, Florida State and Virginia Tech, and losses to Louisville and Miami. So a pretty, what looks to me, Joe could probably tell me a little bit better, but it looks like a cushy non-conference schedule, to say the least. So 2-2 in the ACC is what I'm going off of. They have, and according to Ken Pom, they are ranked 52nd. Adjusted offensive ranked 40th, and adjusted defense ranked 77th. And Ken Pom is predicting an 81-76 loss for Syracuse. Wake is ranked 46th in the net rankings, making this a quad one game for the Orange coming up this weekend. So, Joe.
Sir.
By the way, the game's at 2:00 in the afternoon.
Okay.
So it's a nice little afternoon game. And they are going to stay in Miami. I think this benefits. I think Coach said a day. It's basically a day, saving a day of travel and getting back late would have been this morning to Syracuse and probably not being worth much at practice this morning. So they are staying in Miami, and they are going straight to Wake from there. So to avoid the extra travel. And is that going to help? Yes, it's going to help. Is it going to help enough in the win? I don't know, Joe. What do you think? What do we got? What are we looking at?
Well, again, this is going to be tough this year because the transfer portal is just, through the roof. So there's just a lot of teams, that I've been looking at that it's like, I don't remember those names. I don't remember those names. Coach Forbes has, been there since 2020, replaced Danny Manning, and it looks like he did quite a good job as far as transfer portal and everything like that goes.
Alandez.
Wait, what's that?
Alandez Williams.
Yeah, Alandez Williams, transfer from Oklahoma, is pretty much the guy. I think they said the last, I don't know if it's 4 or 5 games, something like that. He's accounted for like 51% of the points from Wake Forest, either between actually scoring or assists. Sorry, Jake LaRavia is 6'8", 235-pound junior. And Alandez Williams is a senior as well, but I believe, yeah. And LaRavia, he played all 40 minutes last game. He's a transfer from Indiana State. Dallas Walton is a 7-foot, 230-pound center that is a transfer from Colorado, who is the starter. And don't worry, because they're deep there, because last game when he got in foul trouble, Kadeem Sy, who is a 6'10", 240-pound center transfer from Ole Miss, comes in and takes his place when he gets tired. So when you look at it, well, also when Forbes came in, he brought in a guard he came from East Tennessee State, and he brought in a guard, Davian Williamson, and he's one of their better three-point shooters. Now, he did not play the last game, so I don't know if he's going to play this next game or not, but you're talking about right there, that's 4 or 5 pretty much junior and senior transfer guys that he brought from other schools, and that's the difference that you're seeing this year with Wake Forest. They got depth, they got experience, they got size, and it looks like they got a leader with Williams at the point guard. So you throw in Cameron Hildreth, 6'4" guard, freshman from England, and Carter Witt, a 6'3" freshman guard from actually Raleigh, North Carolina. That's pretty much the rotation, and those guys can shoot. They're solid players, but again, that's really what you're looking at. You're looking at an experienced starting 5 with also, I obviously can't miss and forget Isaiah Museus, which is the only player that's been in Wake Forest for the 4 years that's in the starter. He's a 6'8", 205-pound senior. So when you look at their starters, they go 7 foot, 6'8", 6'8", 6'3", and 6'1", or something like that. And then you got 6'3" and 6'4" guards coming off the bench with another 6'10" guy. So that's really what you're looking at. And when you look at Ken Pom, they're pretty good. I think they're in the 40s as far as offensive efficiency. I think they're 77th in defensive efficiency. So
40th and 77th.
Yeah, so they're not the greatest defensive team, but definitely a step up. But again, too, like you said, they kind of had a weak non-conference schedule. They lost to LSU. They beat Northwestern and Oregon State. And other than that, they just played a bunch of kind of easy non-conference games. So they only had three games against decent opponents during the non-conference and went 2-1 there. Haven't lost at home yet this year as well. So that's another thing that you got to look at because obviously it's an away game. So obviously it's good. It's a quad one win or game.
Yeah.
And it's winnable. But here I worry about the size going against Jesse and stuff like that. I don't see their centers really being, I don't know. I don't think Miami had that type of height really. So I think that they'll be able to hold him a little bit better. And obviously they got some other guards and stuff like that. So they got the height. And obviously it's their first year with like 4 or 5 players coming from other schools. So I'm sure they have their issues from time to time. But I mean, this is a Wake Forest team that's definitely better than the one we've seen here in recent years for sure.
Yeah. And, another decent, not overly decent shooting, but everybody, you got to add about 5% sometimes when you play Syracuse. So they're shooting 33% from the 3-point line. And like you said, what Isaiah Mucus? How do you say his last name?
Museus.
Yeah, Mucus. Isaiah Mucus. He's taken he's taken 90 shots from behind the arc, and he's hitting 40% of them. So that's pretty good. Know your shooters. Yeah. I mean, should be the number 2 rule behind don't turn the ball over for Syracuse's game plan against Wake Forest. Look, the turnover thing, just real quick, and I want to bury it, hasn't really been a huge problem. It's been lingering its ugly head. It's reared its ugly head, I should say, a couple times, but hasn't been a huge problem. It hasn't been a reason for a loss. I don't see that type of action happening again. And if it does, then, well, I guess there's egg on my face, but I don't see it. I just don't see it. So,
well, I mean, it's to give people perspective. I mean, the last game Wake Forest played, they beat Florida State by 22, and Museus had, he had 9, but Laravia had 22 points, and Alandez Williams had 20 points. They had 42 of the 76, and from the free throw line, they went 15 of 18. Just to give you a little. And then their big guy, Kadeem Sy, that came off the bench because their starter was in foul trouble, had 16 points, 10 rebounds. So, this is a new team. They got plenty of players, and this Williams especially. I mean, none of these players but Museus has seen this 2-3 zone. So that's another thing you kind of got to throw in there. Now, I know Forbes is a good coach. They don't have as many shooters as Miami had, but I think they got size. And I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't put a Museus or Laravia, one of the 6'8" guys there at the free throw line to be able to take that jumper and make plays from there. So, and then of course they're definitely going to pressure us at some point as well. They're going to throw that in there just based upon, even if they're not good at it, everyone's good at it against us. So,
yeah, unfortunately,
at this point, that's just what it is.
That's gets in the game plan for everybody. Sure.
Look, at this point, if you're a coach and if you're a coach of an opponent that's playing Syracuse and you look at the tape and you don't full court press at any time and put pressure on them, then you're a bad coach.
Shame on you.
That's just really where we're at right now. I mean, it's a matter of fact stuff. I mean, coaches are going to do it until you prove that you can beat it. So that's just what it is.
Yeah. Okay. It's time for our picks real quick. Joe, last game, you were off by 15, which isn't bad, but I was off by 13, so I was better. So I improved to 1 and 2. You dropped to 2 and 1. And from tracking Syracuse's ACC record, I'm a little worried. So, all right. With that said, Joe, I'll go first. Like I said, I remain hopeful. I think this game's winnable. Where was their defense? Their defense was ranked 77th according to Ken Palm's analytics. That's a way better match for our offense than Miami on paper. Now, I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. But
Miami's defense was really bad.
Right. That's why I said it's a better match for our offense than Miami was on paper. It's a better match for them, not for us.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's a tougher defensive opponent on paper than Miami was. Is that a better way?
Yes.
Is that clarification?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry. So I think, look, and I hate to be here already, but I'm here, man. I'm sorry. I got to see it. I'm gonna throw him a little bit of karma and hope I'm wrong, but I'm gonna take Wake Forest 88-84 and another close one at home, and hopefully Syracuse can get back to Syracuse and regroup. What do you think, Joe?
I don't want to do this with orange goggles on. I don't, because I was so upset all last night, all today. I was pissed off. You know what I mean? I really was. Because just seeing the little thing, like you said, them beating themselves. They beat themselves the last two games. And it's just very, very frustrating to watch.
It's up to them to fix it. I mean, I have confidence that they can. I mean, they're grown.
It is. I know.
They're big boys. They can do it. But until I see it, I mean, we haven't really seen it, Joe. Let's be honest. Like, I'm not trying to sway you at all. But, I mean, we haven't seen it. What? The freaking, the Florida State win? I mean, I don't know. Indiana win?
Looking to be not as great of a win, right?
It's not. I mean, and is Indiana? I haven't even checked on Indiana. Has anybody checked on Indiana? Hello, Indiana.
They're still doing pretty well.
Okay, all right. Well, so that remains a decent win. But other than that, we don't have a whole lot holding water as far as anything to hang our hat on, really. And I want to see it. And when I see it, I'll know it, and I'll go from there. But that's where I'm at. I'm not trying to sway you. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Syracuse still. I think that looking at their just how they've fixed things as they've gone along, right? I mean, they've slowly but surely, stitched some things up to make it not kill them as much. And hopefully with the call out of state of Miami and the fact that, Forbes is still, 2020 rather new coach in the ACC and not a crazy good 3-point shooting team with a bunch of transfers that haven't really seen this 2-3 zone. And the fact that I think we're going to come out just really, really angry, knowing, especially it's very frustrating as a player, especially, we're not at the end of the season yet where it's going to be a situation where, players are going to mail it in because they know the season's over, right? In their mind, there's still time to right this ship. And if I was them, I'd be angry. I'd be pissed off because you just had 2 games, not even talking about Colgate. Hopefully they're over that now, but you just had 2 games you should have won. And you're going into, another game that you can definitely win. And I just see a situation where they're going to be able to pull it off. I still think it's going to be close and there's going to be problems with certain things, but I'm going to go Syracuse 76, Wake Forest 73.
Okay. All right. We will see what happens. I hope we weren't too much Debbie Downers this evening, but look, like we've always said, even when we come here after a game like that and we're positive, it's because that's what I mean, at least for me, that's what I feel. So I say, I'm not feeling it right now. That's all.
Right. Well, I mean, I look at this as like a platform because sometimes we say this or we say that, we're just kind of guessing, right? We're kind of just, maybe it was this or maybe it was that or maybe
it's pretty
something's
obvious
going on
though, right now, right?
Right. Well, sometimes, yeah, for some things, but speculation is speculation, and everyone's going to do it because, you don't get that inside the locker room information. So, I just look at it as a platform to try to sit down and problem solve. I mean, I know we're not making any decisions and we're not trying to figure it out, but as fans, just trying to make sense of what it is. And instead of having there's some fans that are just going to have lofty expectations every single year. They're going to look at us back when we were getting 4 and 5 and 6 seeds every year in the Big East, and they just want the glory days back. But, every year is different, and you got to be able to sit down and talk about the weaknesses and about the strengths and about what they have to do and try to figure it out as a fan base so you don't drive yourself absolutely crazy.
Exactly.
That's just what it is. I don't even think it's Debbie Downer. It's just we're all trying to figure it out because we're in unprecedented waters.
Yeah, we are.
Are we not?
Yes, absolutely. I don't know how to. I didn't know how to handle myself last night.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know so I don't even know if it's about Debbie Downer. I think it's like everyone's mad, everyone's upset, but they're also like, I've never been here. Like, we stay on this track. Are we going to make the NIT? And I don't want to go there right now because there is still time.
Yes, as far as that goes, right now. By the way,
it's tough to see. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of fans that are like, "Oh, this team's NIT bound. This team's NIT." But there's probably going to be some fans here soon that are like, "Well, they're not even going to make the NIT." Never mind the NCAAs. We ain't talking about that, So it's too early for that.
Yeah,
too early for that, and we just got to be frustrated fans and just kind of try to everyone throw your opinions out there, see what sticks, see what happens, and we can only just hope that the next game, the reason why we lost the last game isn't the reason why we lost the next game, right? I mean, it's fan base. It's just all you want. You want to win, but it's always hard to figure out why you're losing.
Yeah, I agree. But there ain't no sense in beating a dead horse. All right. Let's end it here and hope that I'm wrong and that Syracuse comes out and beats Wake Forest at home, rights this ship. It's not too late. It's still got a few games before it even is thinking about talking about it's too late. So with that said, let's go Cuse. Shake it off. Let's get after it. Heads up,
we're
fans.
all in this together.
We're all in this together. We are all in together. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.